Hello, my name is Gino. Welcome to Yoobee Creative Sessions. I'm a tutor at the City Road campus in Auckland, and today we're going to have a look at some digital illustration. Hopefully you can take something away from this. We're going to be focusing on things like contrast and values to really push our designs and compositions to look as appealing and interesting as possible. So at this stage, I am just kind of thumbnailing some quick sketches for the pose. This stage takes me a while sometimes, just because I always feel like I can try something different. There's always going to be a better pose or something like that. But eventually I settled for this one, and it was kind of an amalgamation of all the previous ones that I didn't feel were quite strong on their own. I just kind of Frankensteined all the best parts from them into this pose. Once I did that, I created a mask or a silhouette, and then I used a giant soft brush to just layer in where I want the lights to be and where I want the darks to be. Then I started to flesh out the face, which I wanted to be in kind of the shadows, because I usually do a top lit face, which I was kind of happy with, but I'll try to do something different this time. I flesh out the face sometimes at this stage, just so I have a point of reference, so I can kind of compare the rest as I develop, and in reference to the face, which is usually pretty well fleshed out in terms of detail. Then I'm blocking in the hair and all the big silhouettes, big shapes. We work in the macro and then go to the micro, so the big details into the small details. When I paint, I'm just using a brush. I made a square one just because I saw one of my favorite artists on YouTube use a square brush, and I was like, hey, that looks cool. And then I tried it, and for me it clicked, but it doesn't always work that way. Just because you use the same tools as someone else doesn't mean that you always get the same result, or the result you're trying to achieve. So yeah, find out who your favorite artists are, watch some speed paints or tutorials of how they work, how they produce this cool work that you admire, and then try to replicate it yourself. And then just draw lots and lots and lots. Here I'm using just a simple block background to contrast the figure. Make sure her dark shapes are on light background and her light shapes are on a darker background, just to really emphasize that contrast and make her silhouette pop a little bit more. Cool, and as I continue to digital paint, I'm just focusing on the areas of light and dark, and trying to vary the transition between the two. So whether it's a hard edge or a soft edge, I try to sprinkle them all over the composition to keep it dynamic and interesting. Sometimes when I'm not using the brush, I'll use the lasso tool and then just fill it in with Alt backspace, and that will fill in my selection for me, so I don't always have to paint those large areas by hand. Speaking of hand, this is where I'm working on trying to figure out what to do with her hands. I figured out that back one was pretty easy for me, but this front one I had trouble. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, so I tried a couple different things and then eventually settled for like this cool kind of X-Man sleeve, X-People sleeve. And then I have to sharpen her blades eventually, as I try to render some material on that glove. And now we're sharpening the blades. So we can have a barbecue, cook the meat. Okay, so here I put a layer on top of my grayscale, and I'm painting in the yellow for the logo. I'm clipping it onto the silhouette so I don't, when I paint it doesn't go off the silhouette. And then I'm just going to try some blending modes to see if anything will work nicely with the grayscale underneath. I think I eventually settled for something for like some like linear dodge or one of the dodges or something like that. And then I just erased the black X to make it stand out a bit more. The cool thing about doing grayscale is that it makes you focus on your fundamentals in terms of your light and dark values. And then the cherry on the cake is when you do things like this, where you add one hue or one color, and then it just pops, which is pretty cool. Very artistic. So I introduced yellow for the logo, and then I think I was like, hey, what if I put it on her eyes? What if she had yellow eyes? That could really pop as well. And then beforehand I prepared some other layers where I overlaid some colors using various blending modes. So I did one for the skin, and I did her striped top from Marvel 3. And then I've also got some overlays on top just to add a little bit more contrast to the composition. Contrast is key. And then her makeup, of course. Everyone needs their makeup. Alright, cool. Yeah, so that's us. That was fun. I hope you were able to take away something. Regardless, it's fun, and I encourage you to draw because it's fun. I was Gino, still am, I guess, and you have been watching Creative Sessions with Gino from Yoobee College's City Road campus. Yoobee Colleges! Alright, see you later.